Danny, the playoff awaits. What's been the vibe in the camp over the last week or so since the league finished?
Obviously we had a couple of days off to let ourselves recover after the game on Friday night, and then we got straight back into it. Had a good week's training, so we're looking forward to the games now. We've been obviously had that wee bit of period to kind of wait, but we know who we're facing now, so we look forward to the games.
David spoke about getting into the routine. So as a normal Saturday, how does that help you as a player, getting into that routine and being organised for the games to come?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really think too much of it. We've had packed schedules all throughout the season, so whenever the games fall, don't really matter to us too much. We just have to make sure that we're ready. So, like I say, we've been in, we've trained and prepared as best we can for Partick. So, I think as players, you just look forward to the game. So the game's upon us now, and we look forward to it.
Are these the games as a player you want to be involved in? Playoff games?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, ideally the best scenario for us would have been if we went automatically, but we've known for a while now that it was most likely going to be the playoffs, so you'd rather be in them than not, and we've managed to avoid the first round, so hopefully we'll be going into this round of games with some freshness about us, having had time to recover from the last games, and we know it's going to be a difficult 2 legs that we face, but it's one that we feel that if we do everything right, we can come through them.
Obviously Partick was the last game we played, and obviously we got beat 1-0 without a shot on target, but is that a good thing, good quick turnaround that you can right the wrong?
I mean, it's one of the things we knew kind of that Partick were the potential opponents that we could have faced. We felt that on the night that we did most things right, and on other nights we maybe would have taken something from the game, but that's football. Sometimes like you say, it's an own goal that decides the game, and Partick, to their credit, they were really resilient for the period of time afterwards, and they managed to nullify kind of what we were trying to do. So we'll have to be better in this round of games.
Has anyone spoke to Mac about where he has to put the ball in the back of the net and the other goal?
Yeah, it'd be nice if he was able to do so, but I think it was one of the things, that's what you get with Mac, that endeavour, that willingness to try and help the team, and unfortunately this time it's ended up in his own net, but so many times he's done that this season, and he's put out fires for us, so everybody's had a wee laugh and a joke with him, but it's all in good humour.
Obviously there's no easy games in this league or going into the playoffs. What are you expecting from Partick?
I think much of the same that we're going to get from them. I think you see that they're a team that they work really hard. They're very difficult to break down, really resilient. But on the flip side of it, they've got players that can hurt you. They've got goal scorers, and they've got players that play in those forward areas that are able to supply and able to get goals themselves. So we know it's going to be difficult. We know what we're going to face. I think we ourselves, if we're going to focus on ourselves, we have to be better and more ruthless in the forward areas than we possibly were in the last game against them, and a bit more creative to try and break them down. But we know that if you look at the course of time for the last few weeks, they've been really good, and they'll feel that they're coming into it in good form and a good togetherness about them, and that's something we're going to have to guard against.
Obviously you've built a good relationship with Ryan McGowan at the heart of the defence. How has it been playing with Gowser since you've broken into the team?
It's been good. It's a relationship at the back that we probably don't have to say too much to each other. We're both kind of experienced, and the ones around us as well have got good experience about them. So it's been enjoyable. I think we've performed well in the main parts of it. So going into the playoffs, I think it's going to be important that everybody around us as well is really clued in, because like you've seen in the game the other week, there wasn't really much in it, and that can be the difference. So I think it's been enjoyable, and it'll be more enjoyable hopefully if we can get through these games, and we've had a good record of clean sheets, good goals against record, and we'll have to be on that again.
And finally, Danny, any message for the fans to get them along and back the guys over the next couple of games?
Yeah, I think you've seen, the atmosphere created before the final game of the season when there was, more fans there was really important to us, and it's something that we all really appreciated them, coming out and showing that support. So if they can get along to the games and, help push us over, it might be the difference. So we would really appreciate if they were there.
Davey, a bit of the break since the last game. What have you and the players been up to since the last Partick game?
Boys had a couple of days off, so there'd be a bit of a rest for them, and we just kind of we're working week back as in a normal Saturday to Saturday. So boys were back in training Monday, obviously today, off Sunday, we're in Saturday, Friday, Thursday. So just kind of got that schedule into a normal working week, 3 off in game. So kind of just replicated that back, and then after this game we'll just be in the building till the last game basically.
Replicating a normal week, does that help with players getting in the habit, and does that make it a wee bit easier?
I think we talk about it quite a bit as staff, and you're coming in the day and I'm going, it's Friday but it's actually Monday, so it does work. It's your body clock kind of adjusts to that, so for today it feels like a normal Friday to us in terms of the games tomorrow. So I'm pretty big in that type of scheduling and try to keep it the same. So I think it works. I don't know how many times Chipper and myself talk about, what day is it? What day is it again? And I'm in the house with Martha and I'll say, what day is it? And then the Sunday to play a year dance, Chipper's wife was saying the same thing. He said he's always asking me, what day is this again? So it works, and it keeps you it keeps your body clock kind of in that game cycle.
Obviously our last game was against Partick, and now we face them in the Premiership playoff now. A disappointing night in terms of the result, but overall, were you happy with the performance? I
think for me it's probably, you've been in certain games, cup finals and that, but it's more about the result, isn't it? But I thought the Partick game here, I thought it was only one team that should win the game, and it was us. So they scored, they had no shots on target, and they beat us 1-0. So I was pretty pleased with how the boys approached the game. We switched off, we let a runner in the wide area, don't mark the runner, then it was an OG. So I'm fairly comfortable with the performance. I'm fairly comfortable with it. I think we've been sitting here and Falkirk beat it, been a sickener, but Falkirk won, so kind of game becomes a wee bit irrelevant. But I think we were decent on the day.
Going into the playoffs, our home form has been good, apart from I think every game we've lost has been 1-0.
1-0 Spartans here, Ayr United here, and Partick Thistle here. St Johnstone here 1-0 in the cup.
So the whole form has been relatively excellent over the course of the season. So that must be a bit of an advantage.
The form generally been good, consistent over the course of the season. In all honesty, I think that's been there. We've got the best clean sheet record in the league. We've lost the least amount of games. So when you look at it and you take it all as a whole, I think we've got a really good record. And I think most teams in the top 4 will have really good home records. I think there was Scott Brown before the Partick game was talking about he's not been beat at. He hadn't been beat at Ayr United at all that season, bar Hibs and Livingston twice. So when you look at most clubs that are up there fighting, challenging for promotion, their home form generally going to be really good.
Obviously we've had an extra rest week, and Partick have had a couple of tough games against there. Does that give Livingston a bit of an advantage, or?
Yeah, I would be sitting with the shoe on the other foot, and if it was me I'd be probably advocating that it's a wee bit unfair. So 100% I think it gives you a wee bit of advantage. Partick have had a really tough schedule in terms of they had ourselves Friday, Tuesday, Friday, so 3 big games with a lot on the line. They needed to take the points for us to get into the top 4. Then obviously they had the 2 games in the playoff, so they had 3 games in 8 days, and then they're coming into their 4th game. So no, definitely it's difficult to manage the squad at that point. So if I was the one sitting here to play the games, I'd probably sit and saying it's benefit to the team that finished second. But that's why I put such an emphasis on, if we can't win the league, we need to finish second. I think I was pretty vocal on that, because I think it gives you the advantage. It doesn't give you a divine right to win the game, but it does give you a wee bit of an advantage.
Obviously you touched upon it, Partick never had any shots against us but won the game. I think against Falkirk they had a couple and scored 2, and then they've been quite clinical. Is that the game plan to minimise opportunities for them to in front of goal?
I've kind of look at their threats, and Brian Graham's been their outstanding player. Brian's come up with some big goals for them, and they're a threat for set plays. So we'll look at their strength in terms of probably Brian and set plays. That's where the majority of their goals have been coming from. But I think we'll approach the game with more about what we're going to do. So how do we want to play? How are we going to approach the game? It's about Livingston, and I've said that quite a bit this year. So I know Partick inside out. This is our 5th game. Brian knows everything about Livingston that he needs to know. So we'll just approach the game, understanding where their threats are. But I think it's more about what we do and how we approach the game.
Obviously, with a wee bit of a break, David, is there any doubts ahead of the game? Is there any knocks? Or
there's a couple of wee niggles and knocks, but nothing really special at this point. But there's nothing that should be ruling anybody out the squad, to be honest. But there is a couple of wee niggles and knocks within the squad, so we'll manage that if we can, and hopefully we get through it.
Does that make it a wee bit easier for you when there's pretty much a full squad competing for 11 spaces?
Yeah, I think you look at the Partick game and you could be sitting here going, "Oh, we got beat," but I think it was a really, really good performance from the starting 11. I think the subs had a big impact in the game, so your job becomes a wee bit easier, albeit you've got more players to choose from. I think that actually helps because it puts a wee bit more competitive edge on the boys that are starting, so they know there's people sitting on the bench that are more than capable of coming on and taking their jersey off them. So it's a good place to be in terms of having a kind of fully competitive squad to choose from, because I actually think it helps the boys in the park.
Obviously the playoffs are a little bit special. I think if you ask any Livingston fan what's their favourite game, and they always go back to Dundee United or the Pitts goal. Is there just something about them that's just...
I just think, it's cup football at the end of the season. I know it's not a cup, it's predominantly it's a league fixture really, isn't it? But it's cup football, it's knockout football, so you've got a chance to probably outlive the Scottish Cup. It's probably one of the biggest accolades you can get, being in the Championship. If you can't win the League Cup and the Scottish Cup, we've won the Trust Trophy. This is pretty huge. I think if you say to most Livy fans at the start of the season, well, I don't know actually, do you want to win the Scottish Cup or do you want to get promoted back to the Premier? It's a tough one, but it's right up there. So there's a lot on these games. Are really, really important games, big games, and I'm just delighted to be involved in them at this time of the season. Yeah, obviously we wanted automatic, we never got there, fell a wee bit short, but you want to be involved in these games, and I just hope on Tuesday night, but predominantly Friday night, I just hope we can get as many fans into the stadium as possible. I hope we can encourage these probably Hearts, Hibs, Rangers, Celtic fans that stay in Livingston. I know I've got a lot of friends that stay in Livingston and we're kind of our second team, but I just hope we can fill the stadium up as much as possible. We had a wee bit in the south stand the previous game. Hopefully we can sell the south stand out, we can sell the main stand out, because the fans have got a huge part to play in this promotion push. A huge part to play. You see that huge there. I need to stop saying that, didn't I? Massive. They've got an absolutely phenomenal part to play in this promotion push, and I hope the community of West Lothian can get behind the team and kind of help kick us on and give us that wee push that will help us.
I think that's across every team that gets involved in the playoff. Airview Partick, even though it was on the telly, there was a big crowd, and as you said, the last game against Partick here, more and more people got involved, which is obviously great to see. It's
one of the best things in Scottish football, I think. As a fan, as a coach, as a manager, I think the playoffs work. You could be sitting here second and your season's finished. There's a wee bit extra to play for now, so I do think it's one of the things we've got right in Scottish football is kind of this playoff system. So it's fantastic. Everybody within the building is really, really looking forward to the game. Really, really looking forward to it. I hope the fans can get behind it. And I think it has got that kind of prestige behind it. It's a big game, really big game for Livingston, and hopefully that captures the imagination of the local community and the wider community, and we can get as many as we can into the stadium and try and take the club to a Premier League playoff final, because that's what it is at that point. If we can get through these two games, we're then into a Premier League playoff final. But deal with these two games first. Semi-final. and we need to be at our very, very best if we want to progress to the final, because Partick, Brian and Mark's done a really, really good job there and in a good wee bit of form themselves, so it's going to be difficult, but one that we're more than capable of achieving.
With it being Partick at home first, would you rather be at home first or would you rather be at home second?
Pretty easy, but I think you get a wee bit of an advantage being, when you say that, you look at Ayr United Partick win at Ayr and Ayr win at Partick, so I think I would rather be away from home first. If I had a choice, I would take the away from home, but I don't think there's a hell of a lot in it. But aye, I would have took that over playing at home, but that depends on the result, obviously. Ask me at 10 o'clock on Tuesday and I'll maybe give you a different answer.